Okay, the push seems to be getting bigger. The voices are getting louder. And it looks like, if you saw my interview yesterday with Ryan Graves, I was talking about the bipartisan nature of this topic when it was at that particular hearing. And I was worried that it was going to be a little bit more politicized, which it still will be and could be. And Ryan said he's still seeing a lot of bipartisan people, bipartisan attitude of this topic. And of course, we're talking about the UFO disclosure and will it happen? Could it happen under the new administration? One of the things that was said that was going to happen was that the release of all of the files of the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy Sr., all of their files about their deaths were going to be released. Well, yesterday, President Trump did do that. He signed that in there. Now, what a lot of people realize or don't realize is that I think it was like 90 some odd % of a lot of these files have already been released from JFK anyway, but there's a lot that wasn't. And it's pretty big. And a lot of people didn't want these things to come out. They probably won't. It's not like one of these things where he signs it and then they just release it onto the internet. It's not how it works. It's going to take a few weeks, I think, is what they said. Now, how does this all relate to UAP? Well, first of all, there's a possibility that it could relate to JFK if it indeed, there's a lot of, whether it was Jesse Michaels or other people who have reported that there's a possibility that JFK was asking for disclosure on UAP even back then. Will any of those files come out? Who knows? Would be interesting if that indeed was the case. But the reason I think that this is, as I bring up that the bipartisan nature of it and how that works, is that quickly after this video was shown and they showed Trump signing this, the next thing that was being passed around everywhere was Chuck Schumer, who we know famously was trying to do the UAPDA bill with him in rounds, and they were shot down by primarily it was Mike Turner, who is no longer in his position anymore. So maybe this is Schumer getting a little louder about this. But check this tweet out here, because I think this is pretty important. Schumer responds to this tweet from the White House: "Now do UFOs." That's in itself, we're going to discuss that. But then the follow-up to that was this. Luna, who has been a big advocate of disclosure, and to me, the one who's still fighting the right fight, says to Chuck Schumer, I agree. Here there's a Republican and a Democrat coming together to say, okay, President Trump, listen, you did those two things. You've talked about the UAP stuff, the UFO stuff in the past. What say you? Well, one of the things that they have been doing is putting more people inside of this administration that want the disclosure. I mean, look at this conversation that Tim Burchett had.
I like Vivek. He's a good dude. I'm a fan of his. He's a big UFO guy. Matter of fact, during the UFO hearings, he was tweeting about stuff, and I used those. I said, hey, these are better questions than I have. So I used his. And dadgummit, I just happen to like the guy. So
there we go. I got my one dadgummit of the day.
Now, they were talking about this. That was back in 2023, but it is relevant to what I'm talking about here. This is the tweet from Vivek back in 2023. Ahead of the House Oversight Committee UFOs hearing today, I'm calling on committee members to publicly ask witnesses the following 7 questions. We can handle the truth. Has the U.S. government become aware of actual evidence of extraterrestrial or otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence? If so, when does this first occur? You can see the rest of these tweets out there. But the reason I bring this up again is because the people that are starting to take shape and have new roles inside of the government, there seems to be a lot of them that are advocates for UAP disclosure. And if you get both sides of it, whether you get the Viveks, whether you get the Moskowitz, whether you get the Lunas, the Chuck Schumers, if they can actually work together on this and get this information out, this would be very interesting. Now, there's more. There's another video I'm going to make a little later on, because Ross Coulthart, who was speaking with Barber, with the video of the egg-shaped craft and all that stuff that had come out, And I know I'm aware that he wasn't the one that submitted that particular footage, but at the same time, they aired it during his interview. They aired the entire interview in its full, and there was a ton of stuff that came out. So we're going to discuss a lot of that today, or a little later on today anyway, maybe towards the end of the day. But I wanted to talk about this first because the question does sit of, will this actually start to do something? You know, will they actually make these files? Because they've said it many times over that it's like, and I think that it was, let me look at Ryan Graves here and what he said yesterday when talking about this subject with what Schumer put out there. Ryan Graves did respond, and he said, only the president can release the X-Files, and I believe he will. All this comes after a lot of different things have happened thus far this year already. Whether it is this interview with Ross Coulthart, whether it's the conversations in general, footage that you believe, not believe, whatever, there seems to be a heavier push right now. This new documentary that's coming out from Dan Farah that everyone has been talking about. I asked Ryan Graves if he was going to be in that. He said he did take part in those interviews. This was the one there was a lot of buzz about. There's more stuff that Barbara kind of insinuated in the long form interview with Ross about what exactly is taking place, what he believes is going to happen within the government. So there's a lot going down right now in this topic. But I ask you guys, what do you think about this overall? Do you think because, and one of the things that people, I think that, you know, with Robert Kennedy Jr. joining the administration, it's probably one of the things he asked for. It's like, hey, I want to find out what happened to my dad, like the real stuff, my uncle. There's been talk about that for a bit. What do you say? And Trump said, yeah, we'll make it happen. Because he said, as he signed, he goes, give this pen to Robert. Now, Robert Kennedy Jr. has also said when he was running that he would be an advocate of getting the truth out there if there is stuff. And it's about, they're trying to make this push of like the American people should know, right? The question is, how does it benefit them also? That's always a question you ask any politician. Remember that going into it. And will they indeed make this stuff, the information that is out there, will they listen to Schumer? And will they say, okay, yeah, let's do it? Because it's not just Schumer now that's saying it. You know, you've got Luna. I wonder if Burchett's going to step up. Other people are going to step up and say, let's really make this happen now. Or is it just a lot of baloney? Nobody's going to do shit. What do you guys think? Put your comments in there. Let me know. Thanks for being here today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Do everything that you need to do. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. See you later.